Welcome to a review of solving two-step equations and solving multi-step equations. So, how do you solve two-step equations? Well, what happened to make that number appear? So, if I have 3x plus 5, and let's say that x is equal to 2. Well, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 5 equals 11. I did order of operations to get 11, which means that when I need to solve to try and figure out that it was 2, I'm going to use the reverse of the order of operations, and I'm going to undo each of the operations that occurred. So how do I undo addition? Well, I undo it with subtraction. And how do I undo subtraction? Well, I undo that with addition. How do I undo multiplication? Well, with division. And how do I undo division? Well, with multiplication. So I need to figure out what two things need to be done and do them in the reverse order of operations, and then check my work. We're going to do a couple of problems. We're not going to do them all. You're going to do some of the others. You're going to pause the video and do some of the others on your own. But let's take a look at these two down here at the bottom. So I see that 50 was subtracted to get negative 47, so I'm going to add 50 to both sides. And if it helps you, you can draw a line down from the equal sign. This cancels out and gives me 0. I have 3x and positive 3. I'm then going to divide both sides by 3 because this was being multiplied. I undo multiplication with division, and I get x equals 1. I can check this by plugging this 1 into my original equation. 3 times 1 is 3. What's 3 minus 50? Well, that gives me negative 47. So this one works. Let's take a look at the next problem. I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. When I do that, I get 2.5m equals 55. Well, 2.5 is being multiplied by m, so I need to divide to figure out what this is. And I get that m equals 22. Please pause the video here and complete the next two. Welcome back. You should have gotten x equals 3 and x equals 8 for these two problems. Let's move on. Here, in all of these next problems, you'll notice that division is going on. So we're going to do a couple of them, and then you'll do the rest on your own. So let's start with this one. 4 was added in the last part. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. Draw that line down. So that leaves me with m over negative 2 equals negative 49. Well, some number is being divided by negative 2, which means I need to reverse it and multiply both sides by negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 49 gives me a positive 98. And let's look at this one right here. We'll go back to this one. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. That gives me h over 12 equals negative 12. Division's going on. The only way to undo that is with multiplication. I'm going to multiply both sides by 12, and I get h is negative 144. Please pause the video here and complete 7 and 8. Welcome back. You should have gotten that x equals 57 and A equals 27.5. Next, you have collected $345 for your class shirts. The company you're ordering the shirts from charges $5 per shirt plus a one-time setup fee of $30. The situation can be represented with 5s plus 30 equals 345. How many shirts can you afford? Well, the first thing we need to do is take out that one-time setup fee. That leaves us with 5s equals $315. Divide by 5, and we get that S equals 63. We can afford 63 shirts. At this time, please pause the video and complete example 10. Welcome back. You should have found that Zach's lunch is $7.25, and Brian's lunch, which is $4 short than 3 times the amount, Brian is $21.75. All right, here we have some notes on solving multi-step equations. Please take the time to read through these. I'm not going to read them to you. Let's go to solving some of these. So many of these, you may find that there's more than one way to start the problem. So especially in number 3, I can start the problem by first dividing by 2 if I want. Because this 2 is on the outside of the parentheses, we know it's being multiplied, and these are really 2 factors. So I divide by -2, divide by -2. That gets me 4x minus 3 equals -5. Now I have a nice 2-step equation. Add 3 to both sides, and I get 4x equals -2. Divide by 4, divide by 4, and I get that x equals -1/2. But that's not the only way I could go about this problem. This particular problem, I could also have distributed my -2. If I had done that, I would have gotten -8x plus 6 equals 10. Subtract 6 from both sides. -8x plus 6, yeah. That gets me -8x equals 4. Divide by -8, and I again get x equals -1/2. Let's also take a look at number 4. This one gives me, I'm going to combine my like terms here. That's really, I can start with that, or I can start by adding 8 to both sides. Personally, I like to combine my like terms. So I have 10x minus 8 equals -19. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. That gets me 10x equals -11. Divide both sides by 10. And when I do that, I get x equals -1.1. Please take a few minutes to complete these problems. We'll go over them next class. Actually, do 5, 6, and 7. Let's do number 8 right now. So number 8, unlike the ones at the top, number 8 has more stuff going on over here. In cases like this, and because 3 does not divide nicely into 32, I don't really like to divide out that 3. I'd rather distribute it. So now I have -32 equals -3 plus 7x plus 3x minus 6. I'm going to combine my like terms. My 7x and the 3x give me 10x. My -3 and -6 give me a -9. Now I can solve. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. When I do that, whoops, that should be add, I get 23, negative 23, equals 10x. When I divide by 10, I get that x equals negative 2.3. All right, so you're going to complete 5, 6, and 7. Here are some more notes for you to read over when you get a chance. Down here, I want you to put any questions that you may have as you went through this so that we can be sure to address them during class. All right, let's go over this final one, and this is going to be our challenge problem. See if you can do it. Taking a look at this one, personally, I like to keep my variables positive when I can. There's 4 different ways that you could start this problem. I think I'm going to add 7x to both sides. That gets me 11 equals 19 plus 6x. Now I'm going to subtract 19 from both sides. I have 6x equals negative 8. Divide by 6, and then I get that x is negative 1 and 1/3. Go ahead and try 12 and 13 on your own. We'll discuss them tomorrow.